Okay guys, so this Syrian missile situation is getting a little crazy because we're getting definitely to lots of different conflicting reports. For example, you have the US claiming that they hit 3 chemical weapons depots, and then you have the Russians claiming they hit a university. So let's go through. I've found an article that is somewhat in the middle and tries to tell both sides. But yeah, let's go through and have a look to see what they have to say. Syrian state television has broadcast footage showing the ruins of a chemical weapons research center, air quotes, near Damascus hit during the airstrike. The Pentagon officials say their attacks target the heart of Syrian President Bashar Assad's program to develop and produce chemical weapons. The Syrian military says more than 100 missiles were fired against a military base in Syria's central Homs province and the research center in Baza near Damascus. Now, the reason why I said alleged, and I use quotation marks, was because of this tweet from Partisan Girl. She is actually claiming that this research center they're talking about is a university. Now, okay, so that's interesting in itself, and I was like, okay, that's a possibility. And then I was looking through these videos, these images, and I saw that. That to me looks like a bus. So yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe Partisan Girl might actually be correct about this. Look, I'm not saying it was or it wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just simply saying that people are saying it's a university. There is information leading it to be a university. Russia's claiming it was a university. Syria's claiming it was a university. Partisan Girl, who is Syrian, is claiming it was a university. This article is claiming it's a university. But the people that wanted to blow stuff up claimed it was a weapons depot or a weapons research facility. Hey, I suppose technically a university is a chemical weapons research facility if they learn about it at university. I don't know. I just want to provide both sides of the argument here. So let's keep going. There is a lot. I'll put a link to the article so you can go check out all the images if you like. In the images shown on al-assad, might be mispronouncing, piles of rubbish outside a destroyed building and a burnt vehicle are visible. That definitely looks like a bus. The Syrian military says the attack on the center destroyed an education center and lab, which is obviously what we're just talking about. U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis and Marine General Joseph Dunford said 3 main chemical facilities were targeted by both missiles from the sea and fired from the aircraft, which targeted Syrian air defenses. So as I say, we got the US Defense Secretary and whatnot coming out saying that they fired at 3 main chemical weapons facilities. But then we got the other side saying it was actually a school or a university. So thinking it might have actually been a university, to be honest. The United States and its allies waged up to 120 airstrikes on Syria on Friday in a one-time shot, the Pentagon said, followed conclusive evidence that Syrian President Bashar Assad was responsible for a chemical weapons attack using at least chlorine gas. Now, the parts I want to go through and highlight in this is conclusive evidence, right, and at least chlorine gas. If you have conclusive evidence, why are you saying at least? It doesn't really sound confident there, does it? So, yeah. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, Russia's claiming that Assad's system took down about 70 of the 120 missiles. The US Pentagon is claiming that none of the missiles were shot down, which is interesting because we have this footage.
هلا بيرجع بيشلي. ايوه حياك الله. برافو الله حيوك. والله استاذ دفاع جوي. الله يحميكم. امين يا الله، الله يكون معي.
And we also have this tweet. So if none of the systems or none of the missiles were taken down, how is this soldier, for example, standing next to a downed missile? And how can we have footage of this, which looks like it's anti-missile activity, hitting a missile? I don't know. Truth somewhere in the middle, I imagine. Yeah. The Pentagon said none of its missiles were intercepted by Syrian air forces, while Russian military forces claim Assad's defense systems. Yet Syria state TV said it shot down 13 missiles, which were taken down by the Kreska area south of Damascus, the capital. Syrian state TV said 3 civilians have been wounded on the attack on a military base in Hamas. And look, to be honest, I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I think, yes, they did definitely shoot down missiles. I think the US is lying when they claim they didn't lose any. And I don't think it was 70. I think it was probably around 13 to 20, 30, whatever it may be. The images shown on al-Assad TV are the first of the targets. Seen in the footage are piles of rubble outside a destroyed building and burnt vehicles. The Syrian military says that the attack on the centre destroyed an education centre and labs. It says another attack with a number of missiles targeted a scientific research centre, destroyed a building and caused other material damage, but no human loss. The network says that the building and the research centre included an education centre and labs. Mattis and Dunford acknowledged the strike was designed to denigrate Syria's chemical weapons capability without killing civilians or many foreign fighters in Syria's multi-side civil war, particularly those from Russia. Yeah, because they don't want to get into a World War III with Russia, that's for sure. We specifically identified those targets to mitigate the risk of Russian forces being involved, Dunford told the reporters, adding that the US military advised Russian of airspace that it would be used in the strike but did not pre-notify them. The Pentagon said one of the targets was a scientific research centre located in the greater Damascus area, which we're suspecting was the university, which is described as a Syrian centre for the research, development, production and testing of chemical and biological weaponry. The second target was a chemical weapons storage facility west of the city of Hamas. We assessed that this was the primary location of Syria, sarin and precursor production equipment, Dunford said. The third target, which was also near Hamas, contained both a chemical weapons equipment storage facility and a command post. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights Director Rami Ahmadraman, I'm getting that wrong, said that all targeted locations were evacuated 3 days ago after the Russians told the government they had intelligence the bases, including the research centre, would be hit. He said there were so far no reports of civilian or military casualties. According to CNN, at least one US Navy warship based in the Red Sea took part in the airstrike. US B-1 bombers were also used. British forces launched their attack from the RAF Karachi in Cyprus, where 4 RAF Tornado GR-4s aircraft took off from and launched Storm Shadow missiles at the military facility 15 miles west of Hamas. The Ministry of Defense refused to disclose to Mail Online how many missiles it had launched. Mattis acknowledged that the United States waged the attacks only with conclusive evidence that chlorine gas was used in the August 7th attack in Syria. So my question to that is, if they have conclusive evidence, why aren't they showing everybody? I'm sorry, but after Iraq, everybody does not just believe you anymore. You have to provide proof. And if they have conclusive evidence, prove it, post that. Give us that conclusive evidence. But anyway, Syrians were pictured out in the streets of Damascus this morning, chanting anti-Trump songs and waving Syrian, Iraqi and Russian flags following the airstrike. Allegations of Assad chlorine use are frequent in Syria's conflict. raising questions about whether Washington had lowered the threshold for military actions in Syria by now deciding to strike after a chlorine gas attack. Last year, United States only waged strikes on Syria after determining more deadly sarin gas was used, and some US media had reported that Washington was confident Assad had also used sarin on the 7th of April. Mattis, however, suggested the evidence of sarin was so far inconclusive. Quote, "We are very confident that chlorine was used. We're not ruling out sarin right now," Mattis said. Mattis said that the US had no reports of suffering any loss during the initial airstrike on Friday. Mattis said, "Right now, this is a one-time shot, but it's not ruled out further actions, depending if the deep state wants it." President Donald Trump has said that earlier that the campaign against the regime of Bashar Assad could be sustained. Oh, God. Pack your lunches, boys. You're going to be staying there. President Donald Trump said Friday evening in a national address he ordered precise strikes in Syria after retaliation for Bashar al-Assad's evil and despicable poison gas attacks that killed up to 75 people last weekend. My question to that is, why didn't you wait? Because there was an independent body that was literally going through, that were hours away from doing an investigation. The OPWC was actually set to go in when Trump fired to do an independent investigation. But because Trump fired, that mission has been delayed. Now, after Trump has gone through and blown the holy hell out of everything, the OPCW has now gone through now. But all they're going to do is turn around and just say, "Oh, we took out all the evidence when we conducted the airstrikes." You know, it just seemed really weird that the OPCW was literally hours away, and all of a sudden Trump fires off all the missiles. Yeah, getting a little suspicious there, buddy. But anyway. Speaking from the diplomatic reception room of the White House, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States said the strikes plummeted targets associated with Assad's chemical weapons capabilities. The massacre was a significant escalation in patterns of chemical weapons used by the very terrible regime. The evil and despicable actions left mothers and fathers, infants and children thrashing in pain and gasping for air. Every time they go on about they're trying to use an emotional connection, they're trying to justify it, as far as I understand. So that would actually tend to back up the statement that maybe they don't even believe it. I don't know. It's just weird how he goes on about mothers and fathers, infants and children thrashing in pain. But anyway. Trump said of the Syrian dictator's horrific April 7 attack on innocent civilians, quote, "These are not the actions of a man. These are crimes of a monster instead." Yes, but let's make sure we get the right monster, is all people are saying. Trump forcefully confronted Iran and Russia for aligning themselves with the barbarism and brutality, and said that the United States and its allies in the strike, France and Britain, are prepared to sustain this response. Oh, goody! Until Assad discontinues his use of internationally prohibited nuclear weapons. I thought we were going there for chemical weapons, not nuclear weapons now. Interesting. Maybe that's a typo. I'm not quite sure. What kind of nation wants to be associated with the mass murdering of innocent men, women and children? Trump asked. A nation of the world can be judged by their friends they keep. No nation can succeed in the long run by promoting rogue states, brutal tyrants and murderous dictators. Quote, "The purpose of our action tonight is to establish a strong deter against the production, spread and use of chemical weapons," Trump said. Okay, so maybe that nuclear option or that nuclear reference earlier was a mistake. Trump said the combined operations with France and Britain were underway, and they were prepared to sustain the response until Syria stopped its use of chemical weapons. So it is chemical weapons. Okay, that's good. But he said America does not seek an indefinite presence in Syria, and will look to pull out its troops once the Islamic State is totally defeated. Yeah, but the problem is that by attacking Assad like this, you're giving ISIS more power. That this has literally galvanized them, and they literally went through and did an attack on the Syrian forces as you were blowing them up. They coordinated their offensive. So, yeah, you know. So look, what's the takeaway from all this? Okay, so to be honest, I think that the Russian/Iran/Syrian army did shoot down some of the missiles. I think that the US going through and saying they didn't shoot down any is literally just bullshitting. So yeah, I think that's a lot of crap. I don't think they shot down 70, but I think they did shoot down some, so somewhere in the middle, probably around 35. I do believe they actually hit this school. Now, I wouldn't put it past Assad to put a school and a chemical weapons manufacturing research center near each other. Makes sense, I suppose, especially if you got kids learning that sort of stuff. But I also wouldn't put it past the US to actually have the wrong targets. So, yeah, at the end of the day, yeah. As for the chemical weapons, do I think they were used? Well, that's an interesting thing because we got a photo here of someone actually walking around one of these destroyed areas. Now, if they had a stockpile of nerve gas or sarin gas or whatever, you think some of it would leak into the atmosphere? You really wouldn't be walking around without any protection. So, look, I really don't know. But obviously the most interesting thing that's come out of this is the response from Trump's base. Some of you may have seen the video with Alex Jones, but I'll play it in a sec. Basically, Alex Jones has just lost his shit on YouTube. So look, at the end of the day, I'll play that for you now.
We're live. We're getting ready to go live on the main feeds on InfoWars. It's a freaking emergency. Trump is absolutely crapped all over us. He's been totally compromised, blackmailed. There's no damn doubt about it. And we got Zach, our intel source from Space Command, Geospatial Center, joining us. Let's kill that Mattis feed.
Okay.
You know, Trump did this on Friday night and only hit like 5 targets instead of 70 as some type of appeasement to the globalists and everything else. This is total horseshit. So, look, I'm going to straight shoot you. Trump did good on TPP and everything else. This is BS, man. I mean, the damn rebels are Al-Qaeda, ISIS. They've launched the chemical attacks. They've been caught 3 times before. And I'm not going to sell out my morals for fucking Donald Trump. God damn it. See, I can't even go live. I'm so fucking pissed right now.
And sadly, the thing is that reaction is pretty much how most of Trump's base actually feels. A lot of them are against this. To the point where InfoWars has actually gone through and done a survey. Now, obviously, this will be conservatives. This will be Trump's base. Out of 95,000 votes, so it's quite a substantial size for the pool, 66% say they do not support President Trump's strike on Syria. Only 34% say they do. So, at the end of the day, look, man, a lot of your base does not support this. And, you know, like people like, for example, you know, Ann Coulter have come out. They've said something about it. Tucker Carlson said something about it. You know, at the end of the day, you know, a lot of YouTubers have come out and said something about it. There's a lot of backlash regarding this. And I really can't blame them, you know. I want to get into a theory I have in another video as to why it might have happened. I think there's more to this than we've been led on. I don't think Trump wanted to do it. I'll say that, and we'll talk about it in the next video. But yeah, I definitely think there's people pulling the strings behind, and I think this local FBI raid on his lawyer had something to do with it. I think they've got Trump. I think they've got dirt on Trump. They've got something on him. You know, in-filing, a wrong filing on his tax return, something. You know, writing down the wrong bank account, something to basically blackmail him. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Did you support Trump in this attack? If so, why? If not, why not? Do you reckon he might be compromised? Do you think they've gone through and they've got blackmail material on him and they're pulling the strings, or do you think he might have done this to sort of ease up the pressure from the deep state, and it's sort of a case of, well, I'll take out these 3 targets, at least that way the deep state isn't just blowing the shit out of everything. You know, it's like a sort of a compromise. I don't know, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Apart from that, guys, obviously this video has been helpful. Please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.